I am so happy with the direction that the Eminence and Shadow is going in. It really does feel like another Overlord. That's really the best way to put it. It feels like Overlord, at least with the character and how they're really interacting with the girls around him. It really feels like he's kind of being pulled along by his own delusions. So really happy with episode 2. Like I said before, with my first impression with the first episode, I almost felt like they should have done an hour-long episode just to give us this introduction into the first episode, because it really does fit to give you an idea of what to really expect going forward. Because honestly, episode 1 is not really, I mean, yes, you get the violence, yes, you get a little bit of the comedy, like a little bit, but I really do feel like the feel of the show is in the second episode. I really get a full perspective of what we're going with this show. But yeah, that's my thoughts on episode 2. If you have not guessed already, let's jump into it. But yes, the second episode opens up with this guy being reincarnated into this other world. Again, he's really wanting to live this life of being this Eminence and Shadow, and he realized very quickly in this new world, as this infant, he can see mana, this thing that didn't exist in his previous life. And of course, they play this whole thing where they're concerned because he's not crying as an infant, so he has to go, oh, wow. There should not be poops. But no, this transition is showing that he's not trying to stand out. As he finds out, the family that he's a part of is this family that lives way out in the boonies. He's a child of this duke. They raise a lot of dark knights, which are basically like magic-enhanced fencers. And he doesn't want to stand out. So when they're doing this little training session, he's trying really hard to stab this rock, whereas his sister is just shredding up the rock. So she's the one that's getting all the attention, and he's kind of the bystander. He's the one that wants to be like this side NPC. But at night, yes, he becomes this different self, this Shadow. And he seems like he's using some sort of like bodysuit made of a slime, and he's even has a weapon that's a slime blade, and he's just tearing up these people. It's kind of able to stretch itself out and take them out. And eventually he runs into this caged person or thing. This big mass of flesh that is a blob. He says it's something that's some sort of mana overload, or a symptom of a mana overload. So I guess in this world, if you're overloaded with mana, you'll just turn into this big blob of flesh. So he decides to take it back to his place and just do a bunch of experiments on it, to which at some point he figures out that he can essentially contain that overload, and it turns back into whatever it was before, which is this elf girl. And yes, this is kind of the start of I want to put it as the start of his downfall, so to speak. Like, at this point, he goes, oh, crap, I should do something as the Eminence and Shadow. So he goes over and he sits down on this box and he starts acting all cool. Like, yes, you're the descendant of a hero that when they took down the big evil guy, he cursed everybody's descendants, and so that's why you turned this big blob. So I'm seeking to take out this cult of Diablo, and yes, you were one of the descendants of a hero. She quickly jumps onto it and says, well, that means we need to go find all the other heroes. My life is yours and all this other stuff. So she just eats up everything he said, which was kind of funny because they mentioned at the very beginning, like everything that he says, he just completely eats it up. But yes, she completely goes with this absolute lie that he just made up and is starting to jump on it. And this kind of transitioned to him getting so many different members, like everybody's joining this team, and they're all part of this group that he made, which is the Shadow Garden. And we get to see their first mission as his sister gets kidnapped. And all these members of the Shadow Garden are trying to figure out which bandit group possibly had kidnapped her. They're like, we figured out, yes, they're obviously from the cult of Diablo. And he's like, they just think everything is this cult. Like, these girls just think everything is this cult. I love in this little room, he's like, she's right over here. And he throws some little slime dagger onto the map and goes, crap, it missed. And she's like, oh, that's an encryption. Obviously, this is the place. It's like, wow, this girl's like good at acting. Again, this is where I'm getting that sense of like the Overlord, like this idea that whatever he kind of puts into play, the girls are just kind of taking it to another level, and he's just kind of going with it. Like, okay, yeah, you figured that out. Obviously, I knew that kind of thing. That was kind of the sense that I got from Ainz in Overlord. In a lot of cases, he'll kind of go, well, what does that mean to you? And they always think like, oh, you're testing me. Obviously, you meant this, right? Yes, that's exactly what I meant. Like, that's exactly what they're doing with this character. And I love it. But yeah, the Shadow 7, which is like this main team of the 7, they go out there and they completely destroy everybody. At the same time, he's taking this other route, ends up getting lost, and so they assume that he knows exactly where this one last bad guy is going, and he just decimates them. He gets some kind of clue into the idea that there's like this deeper group, and that deeper group has his daughter or something like that, so he kind of wants him, it seems like he wants Sid to save her. And that wraps up everything with his sister going off to this Royal Academy, and then all of his girls, a part of this Shadow's Garden group, are all like, oh, it's time for us to part, and he's like, huh? Wait, what? Again, I think that they're kind of going on with their own path, and he's just not able to keep up with this lie that he created, which again is kind of what I'm getting a kick out of the series so far. Is it really feels like this Shadow Garden, this group that he made, these girls are taking this lie that he originally created, this small lie, and they're blowing it up into something big. And I think, like I said, I believe they're almost taking it further than he's able to keep up with. So that's what the sense that I got with this last scene is that, well, they're going with the next plan. Like, oh, okay, we obviously have to do this, and they're leaving him behind. He's going, wait, what are we doing? Where are you going? Which I think is a huge. I'm getting a huge kick out. I'm assuming it's probably to go to this Royal Academy that all these Dark Knights go to eventually. But no, I'm getting a huge kick out of it. It is already playing into the idea that what he has made up is technically coming true. As they first go down to this bandits group to save the sister, they said, oh, you're obviously from this cult. And he's like, how did you know about that? So it's like he made this thing up and it just somehow turns out to be true. And again, that kind of plays right into the girls' minds, believing, oh, so what Sid told us is obviously true because we're finding it. I got a huge kick out of the fact that even though he's hiding the fact that he is like super overpowered to anybody besides this Shadow Garden, the sister knows because she's constantly sparring with him and she's beating the crap out of him, you know, to everybody's viewpoint, but she knows that he's actually overpowered because she can sense that he is getting close to her but then stopping. So when they are sparring, she goes to slice at him and he goes to block, but then he like gets like 5 moves in, slices at her and then brings his blade to her neck, but then he goes back and then she's able to knock him away. And then she's able to sense, like she goes to touch her neck like, oh yeah, he got close. And this is something that she tells this guy later on, no, I was trained by my brother. It seems like he never learns anything from me, but I always learn things from him. She knows that he's extremely strong and she's getting a sense that he's still beating her. And obviously he has to win over the sister because we have to have the sister part of the group. But no, I'm really loving this show. I really love the feel of it. It feels very dark and violent, but at the same time, it's got all this really funny punchlines where it's just kind of, oh, this happened. It's never trying to make a punchline. It's just kind of because things fall into play or fall out of play from what he's kind of expecting. He always makes these very brief comments about it. It's always funny. The animation is still really fantastic. Like the fight between Sid and this guy was just crazy. At the same time, I was a little bit disappointed by the girls. Like when they went in there, it was just mostly stills, except for like that brief moment we had this one-on-one fight between Alpha and this guy. So I hope that they kind of chill out with the whole panning shots of girl like this and then body parts flying everywhere, because I really love the character designs. Like all these girls look absolutely fantastic. But no, it's working. And I'm still super happy that this show is going to be going for 20 episodes. Still super happy that this is a 2-course show because I'm already loving it. The comedy is on point. Again, very much so like Overlord. A lot easier to follow than Overlord, but still fantastic. And I think this episode, obviously because it's from the perspective of Sid the most time, gave us a lot more clue in on what he is as a character. Anyhow, that's my thoughts on episode 2 of The Eminence and Shadow. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below, comment, let me know if you love the episode, if you're going to be checking it out. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below. I greatly appreciate everybody that considers, and y'all take care.